Speak up so I don't have to ask you to say it twice.
Right, okay. I'll begin, if I may, with your parents. They were unusual in a number of ways, weren't they?
Yes, I think they were. My father in particular, because when he was a lad of 13, his grandmother thought that he was being brought up too soft, and she encouraged him to run away to sea, and to help him she gave him a gold sovereign and a gold watch, and off he went. And at that time, of course, it was the end of the last century, he went under sail, and he went round the world several times, rounded Cape Horn, and he was up in the riggings, and when he looked down all he could see was boiling sea. And another time he went to Valparaiso, and he jumped ship there and hoboed across America. And I don't know if you know what hoboing is. It meant that he was on the tracks under the engine, and he was with some pals as well, and the engine driver and guards got to know that they were there, and they were going to throw them off, and they said, well, they got a pack of cards, so they let the lads go into the guards van, and they all played cards together, and that's how he got across America. And then he got himself a job as a cowboy to a family who had two boys about his age and wanted him to stay, but he wanted to get home to propose to my mother, and so afraid that she was going to be taken by somebody else. So he left, came home, and that's when they got married. They used to go to school together. Mm-hmm. Nelson, you can edit this, can't you?
What are your memories of your childhood like? Was it a happy childhood?
A very happy childhood, yes. I was the youngest. My sister was 8 years older than I was, and then we had two older brothers, and they were already out to work, before I remember anything about them. I don't know them as schoolboys at all. And then they two got married, and I was bridesmaid at each of the weddings. So, and it was a very happy family. My father adored my mother and couldn't look at anybody else at all, so I think that affected our family life a lot.
After school you went on to Cambridge, didn't you?
Yes, I went to training college at Cambridge.
Right. What was that like?
Because I wanted to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. And that was great fun, because we could join in all the things that were going on in Cambridge.
And was that quite unusual at the time for a girl to do that?
I don't think it struck me as it was unusual at all. There were quite a lot of girls, especially in my college, but there were two women's colleges in Cambridge as well. And
did you find yourself doing anything like acting or anything at university?
Yes, I did acting there, and I was just trying to think that, of course we had a lovely time on the Cam, on the boats there, but I didn't know I was going to live by water completely that time.
And when you left university, what did you go on to do then?
Then I got a teaching job in Surrey. It wasn't very near home, and it was at the beginning of the war, and I got a car so that I could travel there, because the journey by train was very difficult. And of course then the war came, and it was most difficult to get petrol for the car. So we all tried to share journeys to help us out. And of course the men got called up. Now I found myself, although I've been taught, I've been trained to teach all subjects on the curriculum, we found ourselves doing all the men's work, like teaching boys PE and taking their football games and cricket. Quite an interesting time.
Yes, yeah.
And that's when I did a lot of acting then. I joined a repertory company, and we used to go around doing troupe shows, and that went all round the country. I used to spend my weekends travelling up to Yorkshire, going to American air bases and so on.
And we know from Attie's books how you bought the island. But at what point did you realise that it was really going to happen?
I think straight away, because it was during summer holiday that it was agreed, and we went back to Surrey to find a bank manager to lend us the other half of the money, and I went back to teach and handed in my resignation, which would have been completed at the Christmas, and with no idea of having any income at all, because there was no, I was giving up a big job, and I thought, well, I'll get a teaching job somewhere in Cornwall. There's bound to be something of some sort, even if I travelled a lot or had to stay away, because Cornwall's a very long county and you can't always travel to some distances, and Looe's only at the beginning of Cornwall. But strangely enough, 3 weeks after the term started in the Times Educational Supplement, there was a job advertised, a similar job to my own, a deputy headship, for a secondary modern school in Looe, strangely enough. So I couldn't believe my luck, and I applied for it, and I didn't think I'd be called up even. And I was called for interview, and when I went to view the school in the morning of the day of the interview, there was somebody on the staff up for the job as well, and I thought, that's it. She's bound to be the chosen one. But luckily I got offered the job. So not only have we got an island, I've got a job, and within a short distance of the island. So it did mean, of course, staying on the mainland, because I wouldn't have been able to travel daily, especially not in the winter.
And had it always been an ambition of yours to live on an island, or was it sudden?
Well, Attie, I think, was the keenest one, because she'd been inspired by the Isle of Wight, all things, slight comparison. And we'd always visited islands, the one off Tenby, Lundy, and so on. But it just seemed miraculous that there was an island here at all.
What do you think you would have done for the past 35 years if you'd never even heard about the island?
Just been stuck in a job, I suppose, in Surrey, still commuting, living in suburbia. It was a very nice part of suburbia, being on Epsom Downs.